Most people don't realize they're being watched. Not at first. It doesn't start with footsteps or phone calls. It starts with something small. Something easy to ignore. A feeling you can explain. A sense that someone knows where you are, even when they shouldn't. These are true stalker horror stories. And what makes them terrifying is how normal they begin. The first story comes from a woman who lived alone in a quiet suburban neighborhood. The kind of place where nothing ever seemed to happen. Tree-lined streets. Porch lights always on. Neighbors who waved but never really talked. She worked late shifts at a hospital and usually got home after midnight. For years, her routine never changed. She parked in the driveway, walked to the front door, unlocked it, and went inside. Every night felt the same. Until one night, she noticed something strange. As she stepped out of her car, she had the sudden feeling that she wasn't alone. The street was quiet. No cars. No movement. But the feeling wouldn't go away. She turned around. Nothing. She brushed it off, telling herself she was tired. But as she reached her front door, she noticed something that made her pause. Her porch light was on. She always turned it off before leaving for work. Every single time. She stood there for a moment, staring at the light, her key frozen in her hand. Eventually, she convinced herself she had forgotten. People forget things all the time. Inside, everything looked normal. No signs of a break-in. No missing items. She locked the door and went to bed. The next night, it happened again. Porch light on. The third night, she tested it. Before leaving for work, she double-checked the light. Off. She even took a photo on her phone. When she returned after midnight, it was on again. That night, she didn't sleep. Over the next few weeks, other things began to change. Her trash cans were moved. Her mailbox door was open. Her doormat shifted slightly, like someone had stepped on it recently. Still, nothing was missing. Nothing was broken. That's what scared her the most. One night, she installed a small camera facing her driveway. The next morning, she checked the footage. At 1:12 a.m., a man appeared at the edge of the frame. He didn't walk up to the house. He just stood there, watching. He stayed for almost 10 minutes. Then he reached up and turned on her porch light. The second story comes from a college student who lived in an apartment complex near campus. It was a busy area, filled with students, traffic, and noise at all hours. She felt safe because she was never really alone. One evening, she noticed a man sitting on a bench across the street from her building. He wasn't doing anything unusual. Just sitting, looking at his phone. The next day, he was there again. The day after that too. She started seeing him everywhere. Outside her favorite coffee shop. Near the library. Standing at the bus stop she used. At first, she thought it was coincidence. The campus was large, but routines overlap. One night, she returned to her apartment late. As she unlocked the door, she felt a presence behind her. "Hey," a voice said softly. She spun around. It was him. He smiled and said he had seen her around and wanted to introduce himself. She gave a polite response and quickly went inside, locking the door behind her. The next morning, there was a note slipped under her door. It said her name. She hadn't told him her name. The notes continued. Always polite. Always calm. Sometimes left on her car. Sometimes inside her mailbox. Sometimes taped to her door. She contacted campus security. They said unless he threatened her, there wasn't much they could do. One night, she forgot to lock her window. She woke up to the sound of breathing. It wasn't hers. She never saw him again after that night. But months later, police arrested a man near campus. Inside his apartment, they found photos of her. Hundreds of them. Taken from across the street. From behind trees. From places she never noticed. Another story comes from a man who worked as a night shift delivery driver. Driving at night becomes routine. Empty roads. Closed businesses. Gas stations glowing like islands in the dark. One night, he noticed a car behind him. Black sedan. No headlights. It stayed behind him for miles. He turned onto a different road. The car followed. He slowed down. The car slowed down. He pulled into a gas station. The car stopped across the street. He sat there for several minutes. The car didn't move. Eventually, he drove off. The car followed. For nearly 20 miles, it stayed with him. Never passing. Never falling back. Finally, he called the police. As soon as he did, the car turned off and disappeared. Weeks later, the same car appeared again. This time, parked outside his apartment building. Engine off. Lights off. Just waiting. He moved shortly after. Never learned who it was. The next story is quieter. And worse. A woman lived on the third floor of an apartment building. Across from her was another building, close enough that she could see inside one of the apartments. At night, she would sometimes notice a light on in the opposite building. A man standing by the window. Always looking in her direction. She assumed he was just watching TV or staring outside. One night, she waved. The man waved back. After that, the light was always on when she came home. The man always standing there. Eventually, she stopped waving. But he didn't stop watching. One night, she noticed something new. A camera. Pointed directly at her window. She moved out the next week. Another story involves a family who lived in a small rural town. Their house was isolated, surrounded by trees. Neighbors were miles away. They started noticing footprints in the snow around their home. Not leading to the door. Just circling the house. The father installed motion lights. They stopped turning on. One night, the mother woke up and saw a figure standing outside their bedroom window. Not moving. Just standing there. Police never found anyone. But the footprints kept appearing. Even after heavy snowfall. One of the most disturbing stories comes from a woman who began receiving texts from an unknown number. At first, they were harmless. "Did you get home safe?" She assumed it was a wrong number. Then the texts became specific. "I saw you leave work late tonight. I like your blue jacket." She changed her number. The messages continued. From different numbers. Always knowing where she had been. One night, she got a message that simply said, "I'm outside." She turned off the lights and hid in the bathroom. In the morning, she found muddy footprints leading to her bedroom window. The final story comes from a man who thought he was paranoid. He felt watched everywhere. At work. At the store. At home. Friends told him he was imagining things. One night, he set up a camera in his living room. The footage showed someone standing in the corner. For hours. Not moving. Not breathing. Just watching. Stalkers don't always want to be seen. Sometimes they just want to know you're there. Watching. Waiting. Learning your routine. So if you ever feel like something is off. If something small doesn't make sense. If the silence feels heavier than it should. Trust that feeling. Because the most dangerous stalkers are the ones you never notice. Until it's too late. There is another kind of stalker that almost never gets talked about. The one who doesn't follow you outside. The one who doesn't leave notes or send messages. The one who already knows you. A man shared his experience years after it happened, saying he avoided telling anyone because he knew how it would sound. He lived in a shared house with 3 roommates. They all worked different hours, and it wasn't unusual for someone to come home late. At least, that's what he told himself. He began noticing small things out of place. His bedroom door, which he always closed, would sometimes be slightly open when he returned from work. At first, he assumed one of his roommates had gone in by mistake. Maybe to borrow something. Then it happened again. And again. One night, he placed a small piece of tape at the edge of his door before leaving. When he came back, the tape was gone. Nothing was missing from his room. That was the strange part. No money. No electronics. No clothes. Just the feeling that someone had been there. He set up his laptop camera facing the doorway. The next morning, he checked the footage. At 3:17 a.m., the door slowly opened. One of his roommates stood there, staring into the room. He didn't step inside. He didn't move. He just stood there for nearly 20 minutes before quietly closing the door. The man moved out 2 days later without telling anyone why. Another story comes from a woman who worked as a cashier at a grocery store. She noticed a man who came in every night shortly before closing. He never bought much. Sometimes just a soda. Sometimes nothing at all. He always chose her register. He never spoke. He just stared. At first, she thought he was socially awkward. Then she realized something else. He knew her schedule. He always came in on nights when she worked late. One evening, as she was closing her register, he leaned in and quietly said, "I'll see you tomorrow." She didn't work the next day, but he came anyway. Her coworker said he stood near the registers for almost an hour before leaving. That night, she received a message on social media from a new account. It said, "I didn't see you today." She never told him her name. Another man described how he began receiving packages in the mail. No return address. No note. Just small items. A pen. A book. A scarf. Things he recognized. Things he had used in public. The scarf was the worst. He had worn it once, weeks earlier. Somehow, someone had taken it, then mailed it back. The final package contained a photo. It was of him, asleep on his couch. A particularly disturbing story comes from a woman who lived in a high-rise apartment building. She felt safe because of the security desk in the lobby and the locked elevator access. One night, she noticed the elevator stopping on every floor as she went up. When it reached her floor, the doors opened slowly. Someone was standing inside. A man she had never seen before. He didn't step out. He didn't speak. The doors closed again. The next morning, the security desk told her no one had used the elevator during that time. Security footage showed nothing. Another story involves a teenager who began noticing someone standing across the street from his house every night around the same time. Just standing under a streetlight. Not moving. His parents told him it was probably someone waiting for a ride. But the figure kept appearing. Every night. Eventually, the teenager waved. The figure waved back. The next night, the figure was closer. One of the most unsettling stories comes from a woman who started hearing footsteps outside her bedroom door every night at exactly 2:11 a.m. She lived alone. The steps were slow. Careful. She installed a camera in the hallway. At 2:11 a.m., the footage showed her own bedroom door opening. From the inside. She never watched the rest of the footage. Another man recalled how he received a voicemail late one night. It was silent, except for faint breathing. Then he heard his own voice. A recording of him talking earlier that day. One final story stands out because of how ordinary it seems. A woman noticed someone liking her social media photos within seconds of posting them. Every time. No matter the hour. She blocked the account. Another one appeared. Same behavior. She deleted her accounts entirely. The next day, a note was left on her windshield. It said, "I miss seeing you.